Hello, so today we're going to be presenting our analysis on the social network movie. So, for a bit of context, this is a movie in which they present us the process by which the social network Facebook was created. Well, Facebook as we know it today because this had a lot of faces, but this movie mainly presents us how, in the process of Facebook being created, they had to went through a lot of legal battles because it had a really big growth within a small amount of time. So this was really complicated. So we're going to be relating this with the globalization and how this can affect different kinds of businesses around the world.
Well, answering the question of how might the globalization of markets increase the complexity of protecting property rights, particularly when entering international markets, we have five aspects. So, number one is the intellectual property conflict. So, one of the central themes of the movie is that, well, the dispute in the intellectual property um, is a problem because the Winklevoss brothers claim that Mark Zuckerberg stole the idea from Facebook, like from them, and it's true. So, to dispose these highlights in the global context, protecting ideas and intellectual property rights becomes so complex, especially when the idea crosses borders and rapidly grows in multiple markets. Of course, this is a problem because, well, when the idea hits so hard and, well, the business is so good, the property rights it tends to be complex if you stole the idea from someone. Also, if you don't sign a contract or a confidential contract. The second one is the global expansion and legal challenges. Well, as Facebook expands internationally, this movie told us that, well, increasing the managing intellectual property rights, every new market in Facebook could enter and have different laws and regulations regarding the intellectual property and the protection, increasing the need of a sophisticated and global legal approach to protect this technology brand. In the third aspect, we have the competition and adoption because, well, these movies show us that when you enter to a new market, in this case Facebook, it has to face every different local competitors. In this context, the intellectual property protection becomes like more challenging to the other competitors. The other companies, might try replicate or modify Facebook, but it has to change because of the um, intellectual property. The fourth one is the international litigation, and this movie showed the importance of being prepared for a litigation in multiple jurisdictions, and the idea of Facebook could be sued in various countries, and if it doesn't match with the protect intellectuality, it can be like a big concern. So the intellectual property rights is important in this aspect because it have to fit in all the legal aspects on the countries. This movie shows how Mark Zuckerberg is and his legal team has to fight these complex laws. And the fifth one is the rapid innovation and the idea cloning. The fast piece of the technological innovation, as we can see in the movie, it also means that the ideas can be easily cloned, or you can have an idea and someone can try to do better idea with your idea, like modify your idea and put that in the intellectual market. So this highlights the importance of having a global and proactive approach to protecting intellectual property from the beginning. Thank you.
Okay, so now approaching this from a more general perspective and how globalization can change these kind of businesses around the world, we want to think about different kind of legal systems that can exist around the world. So in here we wanted to focus in the point that if we create a business here in Colombia, the laws that apply to that business here may change when we take this to another country, especially if it is in a digital way, because there are specific um, kind of laws in which this may change. So things like the patents, the trademarks, the copyrights, and different kind of laws that apply to each kind of business will be changing in each country. So what I wanted to apply to my business here in Colombia will not be applying, or it could not apply to my business in another country. So here, copyright and intellectual property may be in danger since this can change drastically between countries. The second thing is that there are different cultural approaches for people to take in the different businesses that are getting to the countries. So it will be very different the kind of way in which people will be receiving this new kind of business. The target market of the business that we are creating will be very different in each country, and they will be receiving it differently. This will also affect in the way that in different cultures people will be having different kind of thoughts upon the intellectual property importance and how they're going to react to it. So if they know that there is a very known business now, a copy of that business is getting to my country, the way in which people will be reacting to it and thinking of it will have a crucial impact in its development in the culture and in the society, and how people will be taking that in and accepting or not the the intellectual property violation or not. On third place, we have the tech piracy that nowadays is very common. So this is a place in which everyone is very vulnerable, since there is not much that we can do when people take in others' works. The only thing is how people will react to it. So this connects a lot with the last point of if someone has already copied that, it will depend on how people take that information and use it or not. And finally, we have the economic and political factor, since when there is a place with instability and corruption, an entrepreneur may be way more exposed to having their idea robbed, and they will be they could be through a kind of extortion or simply have lots of legal uncertainties, since when countries are going through tough times, um, it is very complicated to create businesses, to create um, something from scratch and for it to be easy. So it will likely not be so easy, and that's like another way in which businesses could be affected when they try to globalize themselves and go to another countries. Um, since maybe in their original country it was easy, but when going to another one, it will be not as easy to take the business into the industry. So these were the four main points that we wanted to talk about.
Okay, so continue with the second question of the exam. Says, can this type of company born global out of the internet be present and function without any restrictions in any type of political and economic systems? To explore this, we will analyze the journey of Facebook as despite in the social network, and we will draw parallels with other global internet companies to understand the broader challenge they face. If necessary, a little context, Facebook began as a small project in Harvard room intended to connect students within the university. However, as portrayed in the social network, the platform rapidly expanded, first across Ivy League schools, then across the United States, and eventually the worldwide. The internet allowed Facebook to transcend geographical boundaries almost instantly, unlike traditional business that require physical infrastructure in every country. Facebook could reach millions and millions of users globally with minimal physical presence. This rapid expansion showcased the power of the internet in creating born global companies. One of the most notable examples of political challenge is the same Facebook, related with situation in China. Despite its global success, Facebook is banned in China due to a government strict control over the internet, often referred to as the Great Firewall. This is a clear example of how an authoritarian regime can limit the operation of a global internet company. Uh, Google and Twitter, similar to Facebook, other tech giants have faced challenge in China. Google, for instance, withdrew its search engine from China in 2010 due to censorship issues and cyber attacks. Twitter is also banned in China, forcing this company to either adapt or be executed from one of the largest markets in the world. Um, Another example of this situation is Russia. Russia presents another examples where political system impose restrictions on global companies. Um, in 2014, Russia passed a law requiring that data on Russian citizens be stored on servers within the country. This forced company like Facebook and like LinkedIn to either comply with this regulation or face potential bans, as LinkedIn did when it was blocked in Russia in 2016. This is the first part. My partner Anna is continue with the second part of the answer.
Now we're going to talk about the challenges in different economic systems. The first thing is the monetization in emerging markets. The economic environment is also crucial. In the movie The Social Network, we see the start of Facebook monetization strategies. But as the company expanded to emerging markets, it faced challenges in adapting the regions with lower incomes. Another important thing is the economic challenges for Google and Apple. Google and Apple have also faced economic challenges in emerging markets. Google have an Android, the low-cost smartphone market in places like India, while Apple struggle because the devices are too expensive. Even in the digital world, economic system can impose significant restrictions. And as an example, we have India and Africa. In India, with over a million people, Facebook has a complex economic landscape. Free Basic was an attempt to provide free internet, but faced backlash over the neutrality. In Africa, Facebook launched a Facebook Live for slower internet speed and less powerful smartphone, showing to the need to adapt the different economic realities. Then we have the impact of international regulations. The first important thing here is the data privacy and the Cambridge Analytica scandal. As Facebook grew, data privacy became a big issue, leading to the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Though not convened in the movie The Social Network, this event had major global consequences. that lead to strict data privacy laws, like the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe. Another important thing is the adapting to the General Data Protection Regulation. So the GDPR forced Facebook and other technologies companies to change their operations, require more transparency and strict data protection. This shows how international regulation can limit the global companies. And as an example, we have the Apple and California privacy laws. Apple also forced different regulation like the California Customers Privacy, similar to the GDPR, but in the US. This example shows how companies must adapt the different legal environment to keep operating globally. The social network movie shows Facebook quick rise as born global company, but the real world experience of Facebook and another tech giants prove that they operate without restriction in any different political or economic system is nearly impossible. So, can a company like Facebook operate without any restriction in any political and economic system? The answer is no. Political censorships, economic barriers, and international regulations all pose significant challenges that requires companies to constantly adapt and innovate.